Hello, students. Good evening, and I'm sure that you all are doing good. Good. So just keep on concentrating on your studies, all the chapters in your syllabus, and as far as biology is concerned, I'm trying to make short videos so that it helps you in your studies. Don't get tensed. Have a relaxed mind. Enjoy your studies. Also, keep some time for relaxation, maybe through games or through your hobbies. And if you continue doing your work, nothing will stop you from getting the success. So, with that, I am again starting this topic, which is neuron. This is a very familiar name, neuron. It is from the chapter Control and Coordination for class 11 students of the CBSE board. In fact, this is important for all the classes in all the boards. And you are aware of the importance of neuron. I am trying to give some extra points, some extra information which will be helpful for you. Structure wise, you are quite well familiar with the structure of neuron. The three parts of neuron: dendrites, cell body, and the axon, the long process axon. So, can we divide it into two parts, that is the head and the tail. Head is cyton or the cell body. The cell body is also known as perichiron, also known as cyton. So, cyton or cell body with the dendrites forming the head region, and this is the tail part, the tail region, the long nerve fiber, which is the axon. Can be compared with the tree, isn't it? These are the branches, this is the stem, and this is the root. And then head and tail, as I said. Okay? About the size of the neuron, if you take the cell body or cyton, what could be the diameter? It is about 100 microns, that is 0.1 millimeter only, the diameter of cell body. Lengthwise, the axon, the length can be 1 meter, depending on the position of the axon or location of the neuron. So, this is about the size, about the diameter and the length of the parts of neuron. Okay, then we come to the normal concept, that is impulses being received by dendrites and then carried to the cell body. The cell body is further carrying the impulse, nerve impulse, through the axon, which is the long fiber, to its terminal end in the muscles, and at the end of these terminal ending, synaptic knobs are there. Synaptic knobs are containing neurotransmitters. What are the neurotransmitters? You all know. They are the chemicals which help in the conduction of an electric nerve impulse from one neuron to another. Like this, the wave of conduction flows. So that is how control and coordination takes place. So these are the synaptic knobs in the synapse, in the gap between two neurons. Okay? So this is the normal concept of how impulses are being received, but we'll go into the little deeper a little later. So now let us see the other details of this neuron. See, the axon we are talking about, long process. You see the outer membrane of the axon of this fiber is called neurolemma. Neurolemma is the outer membrane of this nerve fiber. Okay? Inside there is another protection that is called the myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is white colored sheet with a few layers. They are protecting the axon. Why? Because axon is carrying nerve impulse in a very high speed. Okay, so there are chances of overlapping of impulses, so that is being protected by the myelin sheaths. Some neurons can be myelinated, some can be non-myelinated. So myelinated neurons are having myelin sheaths as the extra protection for this axon. In the inner part, and the segments are there. Between the segments, there's a node which is called the node of Raneville. Between the segments of the myelin sheath, there is a node which is node of Raneville. So this you have to remember, and you have to understand and remember. And then the another cell is visible here inside in the segments. That is Schwann cell. Schwann cell is what? Actually, it is forming the protection, the means of protection to the axon. That is myelin sheath. It is enclosing the axon with the myelin sheath. These Schwann cell, because they are the parts of the glial cells in this system, nervous system. Glial cells are giving support, the environment for all the nerves to function properly, all the neurons to function properly. All these axons of these neurons in a bunch are called nerve. So the proper functioning of these neurons in the nervous system is being supported by the glial cells, and Schwann cell is the major glial cell which is responsible for the growth, function, and maintenance of the peripheral nerves in particular. So this is the function of Schwann cell, which is here, and it is a part of the glial cell that you have to know, students. So, and this system is so delicate and so complicated that this has to be supported by special cells. And these are the special cells, the glial cells, the Schwann cells, and the extra protection that is being given to the axon. So this you understood? Now, the types of neuron. If you think of the types of neuron, how many types of neurons are there? So, on the basis of their structure, they can be multipolar, they can be bipolar, and they can be unipolar. Multipolar means axon, one cell body, and more than one dendrites. They are multipolar. They are present where? In the in the brain. So they are present there in the cerebral cortex. They are present there in the cerebral cortex. Now the bipolar neurons are there. They are having one axon, all right. One cell body, it is also fine, but only one dendrite. So they are bipolar. They are present where? In the retina of the eye. Okay. So, structurally you can divide neurons into multipolar, bipolar, and unipolar neurons. Okay. On the basis of functions, some neurons have to carry the impulses, messages from the sensory organs to the brain and spinal cord. That you all know. Which are these neurons? These are sensory neurons. And some neurons will carry back the impulses or messages to the affected cells and tissues. Which are these neurons? They are the motor neurons. And again, there will be another group of neurons which will connect these two types of neurons, that sensory and motor, so that the messages brought, the impulses brought and interpreted properly, and they are sent back to the affected cells and tissues. So these are there are three types of neurons based on their functions: sensory neurons, motor neurons, and association neurons. Association neurons are there in the brain and in the spinal cord, so that this linking of the neurons take place properly, and coordination runs through, control and coordination runs and is maintained smoothly. So this is the purpose. So you understood the types of neurons based on their functions also. Okay. Now the other aspect is how the message is being conducted, how the impulse is being conducted. That is okay. It is received by dendrites and going to cell body, and then further being carried by the axon to the nerve, to the ending, to terminal ending in the muscles, and then the impulse is conducted to another neuron. Like this it goes on. Okay, but actually how this is happening, so it is called the action potential. The nerve impulse is also called action potential. So action potential means how this nerve impulse is generated. So outside this membrane of the fiber, nerve fiber or axon fiber, there are plenty of positive ions, that is sodium ions, and this is the resting stage, which is called polarized state, right? So now in the resting stage, these sodium positive ions are are attracted and are invading the semipermeable membrane, invading through the semipermeable membrane and getting inside the nerve fiber. The inner portion is occupied by the occupied by the negative ions. Now the positive ions of sodium ions have entered inside, and they have replaced the negative ions. So they have depolarized that particular spot. When this happens, whenever there is a stimulus, maybe of heat, maybe of any other pressure, touch, etc. If there is a stimulus or stimuli at a particular point, then a response will be there. So response is taking place like this. On that particular point, the sodium ions will enter inside and will replace the negative ions. So from polarized state, they will make a depolarized state, and this conversion of these negative ions into positive ions will be again conducted to the surrounding, to the neighboring area of that particular fiber, of that particular membrane. So like this will go on. This from polarized state to depolarized state, this will conducted further. But in the meantime, what will happen? The sodium ions which had entered inside, they will be pushed back. They will be pumped back to the outer area, to outside. They will be pumped back outside by the sodium pump with the help of ATP, energy obtained from ATP, right? So sodium pump will pump back the positive sodium ions to the outer area, outside this membrane. So what is happening? Again, repolarization is taking place. The earlier stage, from where it has started, the polarized stage has been again achieved. So that is repolarization. So what is the conduction wave like? It is the wave of depolarization followed by repolarization. A wave of depolarization followed by repolarization. This is the conduction wave which is being conducted from one neuron to another, and like this impulses are being transmitted. About this I will again discuss in my next video in a further detail. So I will end this topic here in this video, and wish you the very best with sincere most thanks. And if you are liking my videos, please subscribe to my channel, that is Biology in Talks. So please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. God bless you all.